Do you really need these? Probably not. Let me just explain why. So in college, I got a film degree, and my favorite thing to work on was how to make the quality of those films the best that it could possibly be. I worked with industry standard equipment to make the video quality the best it could possibly be, the audio quality the best it could possibly be, and overall just learned how to make a film look, sound, and feel the best it possibly could. I've since then applied a lot of those principles to my YouTube content, where I stream and upload Minecraft videos. You wouldn't think a lot of the cinema principles would apply there, but they did. I try to make the quality of my videos better than a lot of the competition so that it sticks out to you guys and so that you guys have a better viewing experience. But what about you? What if you want to make content for yourself? Well, I want to explain to you guys a few things that you can use to take your video quality to the next level to make it even better for your viewers. Let's get into it. Hi, Sawyer.
Hi. Are you needing love? Are you needing some love right now?
I've got 4 different pillars, per se, of video quality that we'll cover today. Obviously, each one could be its own video or entire channel by itself, but I think it's a good starting place for us to talk about the subject. So to start, we have audio quality. Something that I learned at the start is that people are willing to sit through mediocre video quality if the audio is pleasant to listen to. In fact, your audio should be the first thing you're upgrading before anything else, but first I'm going to show you what you can do with what you already have. What I'm about to show you is incredibly important, and if you don't hear anything else from this video, this is a huge takeaway that you should take away from this. This is the proximity effect. Are you ready for this? I'm going to show you how terrible my audio quality could be. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Now imagine listening to an entire video like this. I sound absolutely terrible now, and that's not because I'm using this microphone. It's because I'm using this microphone. Listening to a video that sounds like this is not any fun. But imagine listening to a video that sounds like this. This isn't quite as bad, right? It's not terrible. This right here is a perfect example of the proximity effect. If the mic is too far away, it starts to sound a lot higher and less full than it would if it's right here. It might echo a little bit around the room if it's far away here, and obviously the room here has some sound treatment, so it's not as bad as it could be, but it just doesn't sound great when it's over here. It just doesn't sound, you just can't hear it very well. It's just not great. If you bring the mic closer to your mouth like this, you get a lot fuller, clearer sound with some more low end, and it just sounds better. It just by default sounds a lot better. This is exactly why J-Man Curly, for example, straps his phone to his chest during his recordings, because it just sounds better because it's closer to his face. If he had left it on the table nearby, it would have sounded terrible. And notice that I did all of this without this nice mic too. This is not playing right now. You're hearing all of the sound from the phone right now. This is amazing. You probably already have a really nice microphone in your pocket. Pretty much any phone made after like 2015 has a great sounding microphone on it. That could be the best way to start recording your audio before you decide to pick up a super expensive microphone. All right, and now we're back on this microphone. The biggest upgrade that you can make to your audio setup is getting something to bring the microphone closer to your face. There's a ton of cheap boom arms on Amazon. That's what this is. And even if you can't do that, you can get something like this. This is a super cheap lavalier microphone that you can just put right here, and that's why lavs are used in general, because it's close to your mouth. It sounds great. But some of you are also like, all right, I'm ready to invest in like a nicer microphone, so here's some recommendations I have. My top pick for a mid-price range microphone is actually the one I'm using right now, the AT2020 USB Plus. I like it so much I bought 2. It's a great clean sound, and it works for pretty much anyone's voice. I've legitimately never had a moment where like this thing has let me down. It sounds great, it looks great, and honestly, I don't really want to upgrade. I like it a lot. My best pick for maybe a budget-friendly one would be the Razer Siren Mini. There's some really great options there for that. That thing is small and sounds incredible. It sounds a lot better when you bring it closer to your face though, so just keep that in mind. You can also look into the Blue Snowball, which is a great microphone. It's just a lot of people have them, so it doesn't really, and I don't know, it doesn't look super professional, so it's nice, it's great for the price, and it sounds good, but I don't know, aesthetically it's not my favorite. As for super expensive microphone setups, you can do something like the SM7B, and that thing is like, you know, $400, and you have to get all the extra stuff for it, so if you really want to invest in it, you can get something like that. And if you need something that's a little bit more of an upgrade, but maybe not the $400 XLR price range, you can get something like the Beacon mic, which is like a lot cheaper than the Shure SM7B for like $280, and it has a ton of stuff built in with the internal DSP and stuff. Digital signal processor is what that is. And it's amazing. It's really impressive, really good for the price. I highly recommend that one too. Next up is video quality. This is the one that most people think they should spend the most time and money on, but the reality is you don't. To start with, let's discuss game and screen recording. 720p is actually still reasonably acceptable nowadays. I know some YouTube people would be like, no, never upload in 720. if that's what you can do, upload in 720p. It still looks great. If recording at 720p is going to give you a better frame rate when recording the video, which will result in better quality content for you or a better recording experience for you, then go for that over 1080p. People on YouTube that are watching your videos don't care as much about the resolution of the video, especially since YouTube starts off with a lower resolution and then ups it to like the actual scale as you're going. People don't care as much. That means if you record a video at 720p 30 FPS and have great audio, that will be a lot better of a viewing experience for someone that's watching than a 1080p or a 4K 60 video with garbage audio. For recommendations on how to get the most out of OBS or your recording software, though, go ahead and search it on YouTube. There's a ton of creators and content out here that I learned a ton from that you guys can, basically maximize your recording quality. There's a lot of ways you can do it, and even if you're, crappy PC may not be able to like run OBS originally, don't be too dismayed. There's probably a way you can record still. It's a very complex program with a lot of things that you can do, so don't be too concerned. Additionally, let's talk about camera quality, and there's a lot to delve in here, but let me give you a few tips. The biggest suggestion that I would do before you invest in like a camera of any kind is up your lighting game. You can get some really incredible results out of cameras like this, the Logitech C920, which are not as expensive as say something like this, with just really nice lighting. And this doesn't have to be like super fancy studio lights that cost thousands of dollars either. You can literally use a lamp and like a piece of paper on top of it to diffuse it. For my setup, I literally have this color changing bulb light back here, which cost me like maybe 25 bucks on Amazon. I've got this like LED strip thing here. It's just like a small LED piece that cost me maybe 20 bucks at Walmart. And then I have a video light that cost me about 80 bucks on Amazon that I use to light my face. And that's it. I use this 3-light setup and it is amazing. I mean, you can see the results right now. It looks great. I do definitely have to control the lighting in here though, because this window, it doesn't look good anymore. Lighting plays a huge role, and upgrade that before you upgrade the camera. That's my biggest tip. If you're really wanting to upgrade to something like a DSLR or like a mirrorless camera, something like that, make sure you have two things. Number one, you want a capture card, something like the Elgato Cam Link, something that you can plug into your computer and use it as a webcam. And the second thing is make sure the camera can output in like a clean feed, so you don't have any sort of random overlays or information pieces on the camera, so that when it goes into your computer, you can use it just as a base source. My camera can have a clean feed, but it does mean that I don't have any like autofocus, which is fine because I'm not really going anywhere. So some great cameras you can look into if you're really looking to invest in this is the Sony Alpha series. Anything from there, great cameras, beautiful image. That's what a lot of people use. You can also look into something more cheap like the A6500. That's another Sony camera, or I use all Canon cameras, and I use the Canon Rebel SL2. That's the one that you're looking through right now, or this one. This is the EOS 77D. Both of these cameras are super great and honestly pretty affordable. In addition to the nice camera body, you're also going to want to look for a good lens. The lenses that I'm using are 18 to 135 f 3.5 to 5.6, which basically means they're super flexible and super nice. I'm using one on that camera, one on this one. I like it so much that I bought two. It's like the microphones. I like them so much I got more than one. For focal length, it'll kind of depend on personal preference. I run mine at about 30, but you can kind of run tighter, you can run wider. Let me show you. So I can go all the way out to here. So this is 18 millimeters, which is very wide, too wide for my taste, honestly, but hey, maybe you like this wide angle look. It looks pretty nice. Or you can even zoom in further, which does mean that this is really weird having it zoomed in on my face so closely. It does mean that the depth of field is going to be a lot higher, so it's going to be harder to get yourself in focus. And it also means that you have less light coming into the camera, especially with lenses that are variable aperture. Like, you're gonna really struggle with that sometimes. So just be aware that like if you're zooming in this close, it's not ideal. Anyways, it's all your opinion. You kind of choose what you want to use, and you can kind of mess with it and see what works for you. F-stop is basically how much of your background is blurred. I like to keep mine at about F4 because I don't have autofocus. If you want to go down to like F1 or F2 or whatever, you're either gonna struggle, your autofocus might struggle with keeping you in focus, or you're just gonna not be in focus at all sometimes. So I try to keep it kind of in the middle. F4, 8 is also great. F8 is really nice, but you just wanna keep that there just because since I don't have autofocus, it keeps my face in focus and I don't have to like move around and I don't have to change the focus all the time, and it's just better. It's just nicer that way. Just make it easy for yourself. I could talk video quality for ages. I mean, I have a degree in this stuff for Pete's sake, but we should really move on to the next pillar. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them, and if you don't get a reasonable response from me, you can go to Google or YouTube, and both of those places will have the information most likely. And if they don't, you could probably figure it out yourself too. It's pretty fun. Next up, we have editing quality. This is something that there are literal master classes on, so I'll just give you a few tips on this one. Biggest suggestion I'm gonna give you guys is download a program called DaVinci Resolve. It is a free editing software that is literally amazing. I ended up editing my entire capstone senior film project for college for my degree in DaVinci Resolve and had no problems. It was the free edition, didn't even get the upgraded edition. It was awesome. There's an option to pay for the full version, but it's like $400, and you don't really need that for your YouTube content because it just gives you some extra like noise reduction stuff and some other color features that you don't really need for YouTube. The software also does have a bit of a learning curve, so if you're coming from another editing software of some sort, you might have some tweaks and stuff to learn, but it is well worth it because the way that DaVinci is laid out and set up is excellent. Once you figure out how everything works, it's really hard to go back. For me, for my videos, I tend to use Adobe Premiere Pro just because it talks nicely with Photoshop and After Effects, and I can do more stuff with that. It just opens up more possibility, and I'm paying for it anyways, so why not use it? For pointers with the actual editing process, I've got a couple. Number one, make sure you're editing out all the fluff of the video. Get right to the point and make sure people have a reason to stay. If you have extra dead spaces throughout, people are gonna click off. No one's gonna enjoy that. Number two, keep it energetic. If there's a slow moment throughout the edit, the best thing that you can do is add something in the edit to keep it energetic and funny and upbeat and all whatever. Like add something in to keep it energetic. Having a constant drive of energy is a huge piece of both regular filmmaking, like feature films and everything, and even YouTube videos. It's something that you should keep throughout all of your content. Three, find something unique that not everyone does. For me, I like to use J-cuts. It's not something that people like really overtly notice, but J-cuts are something that I use throughout my videos to keep things sped up and a little bit nicer. Basically what a J-cut is it means that the audio comes in a little bit before the video so that when you're watching the video, it just flows nicer. Your brain tunes into the audio and then sees the video and it syncs up and it works nicely. So I use that to speed up my content, and now that you've learned that, you're never gonna be able to unsee it. Are you ready for this? Here's an example. See, there it is. Did you notice that my this sentence started before that previous sentence was like almost completely over? It's kind of cool. But now I've also ruined it for you, so you're gonna see it in every video that I do. The final pillar that I have is the actual content quality itself. If the content you're making doesn't add anything to the viewer's life, why would the viewer stick around? I know if I'm watching a video and this video is not giving me anything, if it's not funny, if it's not enjoyable to watch, I tend to click off because I'm bored. I don't want to waste my life watching something that's not going to be funny or engaging or interesting or give me information that I need. It's something I constantly ask myself with my own videos is, why would someone watch me do this? Sometimes the reason is because it's funny, and that's fine too. Like having a funny moment in your video is a good thing. For this video, it's probably like, I want to improve my content. I want to find out how to make something better quality. That's probably why someone is staying around, and that's probably why you're here. So thanks for watching. The most important thing is that you're adding value to their lives, and if you're not, they'll click off. It's really simple as that. I mean, obviously it's more complex than that, but that's like the simplest boiled down thing that most people watch content for is like value. Like, why am I watching this? What is the point? So how do we do this? Well, that's once again something that people have made masterclasses around and all of that, but I'll try my best to give you a few pointers that I've learned myself or I've learned from other people that I've talked to. First off, find a video idea that lends itself to being clicked on. If there's not a good title and thumbnail for your video, no one's gonna wanna watch it. Second, have a goal to pursue throughout the video. That's something for both feature films and YouTube videos, is that like if you have a final goal in mind that the characters or the people in the video are working towards, that makes it so much better than if there's nothing there. That's one of the reasons one of my recent videos, this building the giant circle in Minecraft, was really good, because I had a goal set to build the giant circle. So people stuck around and they wanted to watch to see how far the circle would go, where the project would be, how would it end, like where would we be at the end of it. Third, don't be frustrated when you try both of those previous 2 points and they don't work. People are not always on the same page as you, and that's okay. That's just how life is. And if we have an idea that we think is really good and other people don't want to watch, that's okay. It's not a sign that we failed. It's just a sign that not everyone was on the same page as you and the algorithm didn't discover it enough. It's hard to get right, so just keep trying and you will find something that sticks. Also remember, all of this is really subjective. So if something doesn't work that you learned from this video, that's okay. Find something that does. And don't just listen to me. Find other videos that have good suggestions and like thoughts on this stuff, because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of knowledge out there. There's a lot of people that do this, and there's a lot of tips and tricks that you can learn from people. And that is what I suggest if you're trying to up your quality. If you have other questions about this, feel free to ask them in the comments section down below the like button. I am happy to respond to the best of my ability. Obviously, this is a bit of a detour from my regular content, but hey, it seemed like a fun video idea, so I'll do what I want. If you're not subscribed already, get subscribed for some really cool, fun stuff coming, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.